challenge I set myself for this room makeover. Layout of the upper floors of this house. Decisions were made. Hi and welcome back to my channel. As promised, this week we are going to get started with the bedroom makeover, which is why I'm standing in our hallway on the second floor. I thought this was a great opportunity again to give you a better idea of the layout of the upper floors of this house. I don't know if I mentioned it before. I actually don't think I have, but this house is actually duplex. Our unit is on the left side of the house, and then there's like another unit which should be identical to this one on the other side, which is also kind of like why we only have windows to the front of the house and the back of the house. So kind of like all our windows are either looking out to the front where the street is or to the back where our garden is. If you have watched the entryway video, then you may remember me saying that this house is essentially a gigantic staircase with some rooms built around it. Well, that statement is even more so true for the upper floors. Essentially, a good third of this floor is actually like the open space where the staircase is. And then here we have our bathroom, our bedroom, and then there's like a spare room. We use this room kind of like as a multifunctional room, but I'm going to show that to you later. Okay, now shall we move on to the bedroom? So, welcome to our bedroom. I think I'm going to start by giving you a quick tour and then I'll tell you more about the vision I have for this room. Now, as you can see, we have all the basic furniture that one would need for a bedroom. We have a bed, we have side tables, we have some wardrobe space, a chair, some drawer space, some hanging space, some closed-off wardrobe space, albeit definitely not enough for 2 adult people. But yeah, the basics are all here. The individual pieces of furniture are definitely not my style anymore. I think the bed I got 8 years ago now. It is definitely way more modern than I would like it to be, but 8 years ago that was just simply what I was into. Now, the thing is, I do want to keep it. It's actually really comfortable. Also, the budget that we do have for this room is probably gonna go into figuring out a better solution for the wardrobe space. So the bed and also the other pieces of furniture are going to stay, which leads me to kind of like a challenge I set myself for this room makeover. Will I be able to create something beautiful that corresponds to my current style without buying new furniture pieces? It's not that we are not going to add anything new to the room, but I do want to keep the core pieces of furniture and then kind of like see if I can get creative and upcycle them in a way that make them fit. So yeah. Now, for the vision. Should I start with the theme for this room or should I first start with the furniture? I think I'm gonna start with the furniture. So let's move over there. So on this side of the bedroom, I kind of wanted to build a faux fireplace. We have a radiator that works perfectly fine, so there's not actually a need for a fireplace. I feel like it's going to make this room so much more cozy. Honestly, is there a better thing than to sit there, read a book, and have like a fireplace going, even if it's just a fake one? I already got the electric fireplace. The package actually already arrived last week, but then I don't just want to put it here. I kind of want to build a mantle piece around it so that it looks a bit more authentic, even though it's still fake. On this side of the bedroom, I want to keep the wardrobe. I kind of want the wardrobe to have like a built-in kind of look. I've seen quite a lot of people use the IKEA pack system for that, and I may do that as well. I mean, we have this unit, and I would very much like to have like a second unit that is about the same size so that I can have one and my boyfriend can have one. Now, for the theme. I actually have quite a lot of samples already. Contrary to the entryway where I struggled quite a lot to come up with a theme, the theme for the bedroom was in my head pretty much the moment we moved in. I guess like a good way to describe the theme for this room is this postcard. A clear, relaxing, starry night. I would like for the room to be calming elegant with a touch of whimsical. Downstairs we stayed pretty neutral with the color palette that I chose, but I feel like for the rooms upstairs I kind of want to go a bit bolder with the colors. So I kind of have like quite a lot of color choices. All of them are blue. Some are more green blue, others more gray blue. I'm not decided yet on what color I want to go with, but it will be something along those lines. I also have some wallpaper. I would like to put wallpaper on at least one of the walls in here. I don't know yet if it's going to be that wall or the one behind the bed. Both are again pretty botanical wallpapers. This one I feel like leans a bit more into the whimsical, while this one is a bit more elegant, I feel like. I'm honestly not decided yet, but that's kind of like roughly the theme I'm going for. I hope that I was able to kind of like give you a better idea of what I want to do and what my vision is for this room. So without further ado, I think it's time to just get started. But I feel like to properly kickstart this bedroom makeover, we will first have to tackle something in the room next door, which is, by the way, where the wardrobe ended up, which we picked up from my boyfriend's relatives last week. In the meantime, we actually already assembled the wardrobe. So I think I'm just going to quickly show you the clip where we did that, and then I'll see you in the other room. So we are in the spare room. I keep saying we now have our very own Narnia wardrobe, which is, I think, the part that I'm most excited about. I really like this wardrobe. I think in last week's video I mentioned that we keep a lot of our clothing still in boxes and in suitcases. Well, this is the room where we store that, and I am hoping that we can get actually a lot of the clothing from the boxes and the suitcases into this wardrobe. I would very much like to put our bedding in here, and also maybe a lot of my dresses, a bit more formal wear, stuff that we don't wear every day, but then I would like to have our everyday clothing in the bedroom. So I think what I first want to do is to put everything in this wardrobe that's going to stay in here, because that way, for one, I'll get a better idea of how big the wardrobe in our bedroom still needs to be, and second of all, I hope that I can get rid of some of the boxes in this room. That way I'll have more room to move over some of the furniture that's not going to stay in the bedroom in here. I feel like I have talked quite a lot in this video so far, so I think it is finally time for some action. Let's go!
It's
2 days later now, and as you can see, decisions were made, quite a few actually. First of all, we decided on a color for the walls. I don't think I'm going to show that to you just yet, probably in the next episode we may get started on the painting, but when we saw this color we fell in love instantly, so I think it's actually a fairly good choice. Then second of all, we also went to the hardware store and I got the MDF pieces that I need to build the mantle around the fireplace. I think that's going to be the first thing we will do, and then after that we will get started on the wardrobe. We went to IKEA and we got some of the PAX system pieces that I still need to kind of like complete the setup of the wardrobe that I have in my head. I actually took the past 2 days to figure out a layout for this room, which allows me to use as many of the furniture pieces that I own as possible, and I think I now finally landed on something that could potentially be pretty awesome. We'll have to see how it goes once we get started, but I feel like it's a pretty good plan. So I think let's just get to work. As you can see, the bare structure of the fireplace is finished. This is, however, only the very basic structure. I do want to add quite a bit more trim, especially along the top and also like on the legs of the fireplace, and then maybe around here as well, but those are quite a few details I have yet to decide. I think this is where I'm going to leave it for this episode, but do know that in the next few episodes I'm going to make this a lot prettier. Also, it is probably going to be attached to the wall in some fashion, but since I do not know yet exactly what I want to do on the left and right of the fireplace, I'm just going to leave it like this for now until I figure that out. What I want to do next now, I think, is move on with the wardrobe. As I mentioned, we went to IKEA to get a basic PAX structure to kind of like complete the wardrobe setup that I have in my head. So I think what I now want to do is to simply build that, and then I guess I'll see you once that's done. And just like that, the rough layout of the bedroom is finished. I kind of feel like we did not accomplish that much this week, but honestly that's not true. It's just that a lot of energy this week went into figuring stuff out and building the foundation where the rest of the design will sit on. And that's just always the part that takes a lot of time while not being that transformative. But that doesn't mean that it isn't important work, because without a strong foundation, the rest of the makeover is not going to work out. I'm pretty happy with the basic layout that I came up with for this room, and I think once everything is finished, it's going to look pretty awesome. But in order to get there, we still have quite a lot of work ahead of us. Speaking of workload, I kind of assessed what I have to get done in order to get where I want to get in the next episode of this makeover, and I came to the conclusion that that's not something I'm going to get done in 1 week. So for you, the next episode is probably going to be in 2 weeks' time. What I ideally want to accomplish by the end of that episode is the build-in part of the wardrobe, and also get quite a bit further with the fireplace, as well as maybe get started on the paint. In truth, the next episode is probably going to be quite transformative, so I am pretty excited for that. But again, it just kind of means that next week there probably won't be an episode. Same thing with the entryway makeover. I have gotten started on the next episode, but I won't be able to finish that in a week's time either. So I think I'm going to mainly focus on the bedroom makeover so that I can get the next episode ready for you in 2 weeks' time. But then also at the same time, I'm going to slowly chip away at the last episode of the entryway makeover. So hopefully a lot of transformative stuff will happen in the next few weeks. But yeah, until then, this is it for today's episode. I hope you had fun, and I hope I was at least partially able to share my vision. If you haven't already, do make sure to consider subscribing to my channel to not miss out on the next few makeover episodes. The only thing left to do is to wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you on my next video. Bye!